Hi there, Sarah here. I'm a meditation coach and trainer. Last night I had the chance to watch Brene Brown's Netflix special, The Call to Courage, and I absolutely loved it. Brene is so refreshing. I think she is an example, a shining light of the new spiritual leader who is like the woman next door. She's accessible, she's fun, she's funny, she's herself, and I really love her teaching and her speaking approach. And one of the things I find most powerful about Brene is her ability to tell story. And I wanted to touch upon some of the things that she spoke about in her special, hopefully without giving it away, in the way that it relates to meditation. If you've been following Brene Brown's work, you know that she's a huge advocate of vulnerability and how important it is to be vulnerable in order to be courageous, to have healthy connections and relationships with people, and to live wholeheartedly. One of the things that meditation helps us to do is access that state of vulnerability within ourselves. That's basically being our true self, which is the purpose of meditation. And one of the reasons why we emphasize so much that softer, gentler approach to meditation is that when you feel safe and secure, when you allow yourself to tap into higher states of consciousness like peace, compassion, freedom, joy, when you allow yourself to tap into these higher states, you feel safe in being open and being vulnerable. So meditation helps to create these highly secure, highly safe states within yourself. It gives you that inner resource to find that strength, to be vulnerable. It also gives you a very strong sense of resilience. So resilience doesn't necessarily come from being hard or tough. It actually comes from our ability to be soft. To be soft. So the strongest state of resilience can come from a place of love. So that's something I'll talk about a little bit more later, but I wanted to cover some of these points because Brene told a very powerful story about trying to connect to her husband when she was on vacation. And she talks about this time where she really opens up to her husband, tells him that, I feel really close to you. I'm enjoying this moment. It's so great. And he just, responds, the water's good. He doesn't even acknowledge what she's trying to say and that intimate connection that she's trying to have with her husband. And she finds out later that he was actually having a panic attack. And that was why he wasn't able to connect with her. So I think this is such a crucial piece because when we are experiencing stress, anxiety, when we're not able to resource ourselves, we won't be able to make healthy connections and we won't be able to communicate in a healthy way to others because our energy basically goes into survival mode. It's a state of fight or flight. So what's important is that we recognize this because oftentimes when we are in a state of stress, we'll either shut down, we'll avoid, we'll hide, we'll isolate. There are all these tendencies that we could do. It's either fight, become aggressive, act out, or flight, hide, go away, run away, avoid. And it's important to be aware of where people are in their own consciousness when we try to communicate and connect with them, because that's what we need to experience intimacy. And also, intimacy comes from our ability to be vulnerable. And if we don't feel safe in expressing ourselves and being received by what we express, when it's our feelings and our emotions, then we're not going to express at all. So that's why it really helps to have that sacred space sometimes to kind of know, where is somebody Are they rushing to work and you want to have a deep connected conversation? Did they just get home from work and they're like exhausted and they feel so drained from being at work and having to deal with the politics or being criticized at work? There are a lot of things that can get into our energy and drain us. So meditation does really help open up that space for connection and communication. So I just want to talk a little bit about that, and also this space between people. So here you could see that I made this diagram, and I wanted to highlight this space, which represents the relationship between two individuals. And this is not a seen space. This is an unseen space, in that this is the level or the quality of connection between two individuals. If you have negative feelings towards the other person, you're, in a sense, deteriorating this space or this level of connection. If you have negative feelings and thoughts, or there's tension or unspoken tension and rub between you two, and our ability to be able to cultivate these healthy states of connection in our relationship is paramount to our own sense of health, well-being, and belonging. And when you meditate more and more, you become aware of your thoughts and the thoughts that you project towards other people and your relationships and also your connections. And it's really important to become aware of this space and keep this side of your space as pure as possible, just because that's part of the work that we do. And we notice when we get triggered by other people and we start projecting any negativity or fear, and what helps us stay in a state of love and develop these connections. Because when we don't have these healthy connections, this invisible space, this bond that we have with other human beings, we will often feel disconnected. We can feel lonely, isolated, and with social media and technology, this space is often eroded. So we don't have any of this, and yet we're putting a lot of energy into our tech relationships, but we need to have these meaningfully connected, present relationships, and most importantly, the relationship with ourselves. So if for any reason you had a primary caregiver, your parents, this is where we first experienced this level of connection. Did your parents provide a stable, loving environment for you, and you were able to attach securely to your parents and have a secure attachment? Or were they abusive? Were they absent? Were they not present? For over 90% of us, we probably had parents that they weren't all the way there. So we're still working on ourselves a little bit to help foster intimacy, bonding, and connection with our partners or our loved ones, people that we know. And when we're aware that we didn't have the secure connection from our parents or that support, what happens is that that energy of regulation didn't have a chance to enter our own nervous system. So we might avoid relying or asking for help, reaching out to people in our lives. There isn't necessarily a fluid cycle of giving and receiving because we don't feel confident that our needs will get met. And that's really where it begins, is in our childhood. So it's very important to be aware of this invisible space of connection to try to foster healthy connection with the people that are in your life. And know that this is a real energy force. This actually gives you more energy. It's bonding, human bonding. So it's something I wanted to talk about. I kind of went a little off topic with Brene Brown's work, but it's all connected because what she's talking about is vulnerability and connection and the ability to find deep and intimate relationships, to receive deeply in our lives, and to live with joy and courage. So this is the purpose of meditation, so that we can express and be ourselves, to become self-realized. And I wish you a lot of love. Thank you for listening in. I'd love to hear your comments below about what you think of this material and how you enjoyed Brene's Netflix talk. Lots of love.